Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In order to trust someone, that someone needs to build trust with you. That means whatever that person says that will do, match the actions. And you do this repeatedly, then trust is built. Therefore, if someone tells you, I'm going to give you $1 tomorrow, or I'm going to punch you in the face tomorrow, you should take that into consideration, both options, if that person is consistent. If you already figured out that person, when that person says something, is going to do it. Well, in this case, let's take Russia. Russia says that we're not here in looking for Zelensky's removal. Russia isn't seeking Zelensky's removal. Now, if you laughed of this statement, or laughed at this statement, then let me tell you, or let me ask you this. Do you think that Russia was not able to eliminate Zelensky? Do you think that Russia is not capable of destroying Zelensky physically? I think Russia is able to do this. But if Russia does this, what are the consequences? Let's say Russia is the way they tell us. Okay, Russia blows up Kiev entirely. And in Kiev, that's Zelenskys with his picture up, okay, with his public relations companies from America and Great Britain. Okay, so he's blown up. Then what? Then I guarantee you Zelensky will be turned into a hero that he's not. And then the whole world will say, oh my God, this was really a political assassination. That's awful. So why would Russia do that? That's one of the reasons why they don't do that. And besides, you have a piece of shit with a different face. Zelensky is gonna go, he's gonna come what? Zmi, another piece of shit with a different face. I mean, kind of the same, but anyway. So you have to believe they don't want, but they tell you why they don't want. And that's the first topic for this video. The second one is the United States, Russia claims that the European Union wants war, not peace or talks. Is it true? Well, the third article will clarify that. NATO forces in Ukraine could trigger World War III, Russian security chief says. Now, obviously, this is Mr. What's his name? Shoigu, whom I have not a lot of faith in him. But anyway, he says, I said this for a long time already, and I think it's very clear to see that once these guys want to bring peacekeeping troops from NATO, it's just a, how do you call it, a way of getting NATO somewhere where the war actually broke up for. The Russians invaded Ukraine, or let's say this is a consequence of NATO's enlargement, advancement towards Russia. All right, let's start with the first topic. And this comes from Russia Today. Russia isn't seeking Zelensky's removal, the Kremlin says. Now you can say, well, no. CNN told me that they want to destroy him. Now, I made a video a long time ago, I don't know, about 3 years ago. And the video was about an interview conducted with former, at that time, Israeli Prime Minister, Mr. Bennett. And the interview was 4 hours and a half. And in that interview, Mr. Bennett, who was the Prime Minister of Israel when the war broke out in Ukraine, 24th of February 2022, so he was the Prime Minister, he was visiting Putin at that time. He was in Moscow when the war broke out, when Putin said, let's go. So Mr. Bennett claims that he asked Putin if Putin has an intention of killing Zelensky. And Putin told him no. Now you can say, no, and asked him again. And Putin gave the same answer. No, I have no intention of killing that guy. Someone else will do it for me. I don't know. He didn't say that. Anyway, so Bennett, when he left the meeting with Putin, while he was on the Tamarack in Moscow, he had a phone number, he called Zelensky in his bunker. He reached his fellow Stein in the bunker and told Zelensky, don't worry, Putin promised me he will not eliminate you. And then Zelensky said, "Are you sure?" This is according to Bennett, not with me. I'm just reporting. You can still find the video, 3 years ago, almost 2 years and something like that. And Zelensky says, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And his fellow pop says, Mr. Bennett, "Yes, I'm sure. He promised me." And then Zelensky, in 2 hours, according to Bennett, showed up in the mass media and said, "We are not afraid. We are going to fight." Blah, 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 blah. But before that, he was in his bunker. Like a little, I was about to say something, but people might say, "Oh, those guys use the same vermin term," or you know what. All right, so they are not seeking that. It doesn't work in their benefit. You can say, well, remember, Putin said he's not going to kill whatever his name is, the guy whose plane was from Wagner Group. Remember? He's not going to do it. Someone else did it. We don't know who did it. Well, in either way, I think that if the Russians want, they really can do it. All right, so this is what I say. Moscow considers the Ukrainian leader illegitimate, but will not make it an obstacle to negotiations. That means allow the baboon to be over there. Negotiate. Pretend you're the president. You know why? This is what we are afraid of, the Russians claim here. When documents will be signed, if they're signed by Zelensky now, the next president, the next administration in Kiev may say, well, this peace agreement and everything that's signed here is illegitimate, has no value. It's illegal because, and they will find out, that Zelensky at that time could claim was illegitimate. Therefore, this means zero. So that's why the Russians claim this guy cannot sign the papers, because they're afraid in the future, the next Ukrainians, not Ukraine, the real Ukrainians, if they get a hold of their country, they can say, no, yeah, this baboon recognized Crimea, Donbass, this and agreed with these peace proposals in blah, 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 and unconditional surrender. But he was illegitimate at that time. And they will find a way to say, well, he was illegitimate. Therefore, means zero. Let's get at it again. And the West will be, whew, okay, we got tougher now. Let's go again. So that's exactly what these guys are saying. Russia is not demanding that Vladimir Zelensky steps down. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said. Ukrainian officials could, however, legally challenge any agreements signed by him in the future. The Peskov warned. Yeah, the Peskov warned. Moscow has repeatedly rejected Zelensky's legitimacy since his presidential term lapsed last May. He has since postponed elections by successively extending martial law roughly every 3 months. Ukraine's parliament supported the latest extension last week. So, in an interview with French weekly Le Point, published on Wednesday, Peskov was asked whether Russia was demanding the Ukrainian leader's resignation. And I'm quoting Peskov. It is not one of our demands, but even if an agreement were signed with Zelensky today, people could come forward later in Ukraine and legally challenge his legitimacy, he said. This is in relation to martial law and certain articles of the Ukrainian constitution. The role of the Rada, the parliament, is enshrined in the constitution, not that of the president, he claims. All right, so this is, he says, but if we ever get to the point of signing a document, it can only be done with the representatives of legitimate authorities. That is the bottom line, Putin said. Got that? So please, I don't want you to agree with that. I don't want you to love it. All I want you to put that in your memory, repeat it about 3 times, all right, out loud. That helps. Science. And then after you do that, whenever you hear CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or this operatives in the Western media or BBC or whomever, Deutsche Welle, telling you that, Associated Press, telling you that, oh, you know, these guys want to remove Zelensky, please bring that back from the bottom of your brain. And, oh my God, from your memory. Let me see. Because this makes clear sense. Zelensky is just a puppet. He's just an actor. That's what he is. Unfortunately, he's, by some standards, a bad actor for the Ukrainian nation. Why? Look where it's Ukraine now and where it was before. Is it better? That means he is responsible for this. I mean, he's in charge. He's your leader. He leads you towards what exactly? It's worse now than it was before. Out. All right, next topic. Russia Today. European Union wants war, not talks, Kremlin. I think that's 100% true. The problem is these guys in charge of the European Union will not be harmed. Only you and I, the common people, will be harmed. The bloc has opposed efforts by Moscow and Washington to broker a peace deal in the Ukraine conflict. Again, Peskov said. So again, the EU has been obstructing the US-Russia diplomatic efforts to end the Ukraine conflict, working instead to prolonging the hostilities. I know that there is the three pillars of profiteers in this garbage of war. There is the financial system, the big banks, international banking system. The other one is the military-industrial complex. And the third one is obviously the energy industry. So the first one is clear what they do. They're going to provide money. That is by how much you want? 100 billion, 1000. That's how they make money. That's how they make money. They don't have it. They can't back it up. That's how they make money. How much I can give you right now? Click, 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 click. I'm not like this. I'm like, how do you call key packers? I call pick, pack, 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 pack. That's why. Anyway, so if you think about it, you can't push like a piano or make a, you call it a harmony, or you can't like three keys in the same time. So you have to be 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So if I'm faster with two little keys, and you do click, 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 it's still you're gonna be more relaxed. I'm gonna be like all right, let's move on, my friend. So yes, these guys were trying to the military-industrial complex right now, I think, and the big banks do not want this war to end just now. They already have it ready. After the war ends, they want a piece of Ukraine for reconstruction and rearming Europe against Russia, the boogeyman, who's still going to be there. The problem is how you build weapons with energy. So you see all these things are all related. You give me the money that you packer, pop. I am the guy who's going to provide the weapons, all right, for you to stock, then give it and then restock. By how? By using the baboons, including the energy. These are the ones. And remember, why is Trump talking about getting the Ukraine's minerals and all that? Why not, I don't know, taking Ukraine's air or something? He wants the minerals. All right, so I think that's true. They're going to be fighting the interest in Europe. And when these guys say in Europe, we want to wane away from American weapons manufacturing, they're talking about Rheinmetall in Germany and others. They want to be those guys in their little plot. Remember, you have, like United States of America, you have the big government. Let's take another country. This is a federation, whatever you want to take, a federal government and so on, in the states. Let's get to something simpler. In Romania, you have a president, you have a prime minister, you have the baboons and all that. Now this apparatus goes to the little counties, to the little cities, to the little villages. So in the village, you have the policeman of the village. Okay, hey, what's up, man? What are you doing here? Okay, now he is just in charge of the little village. On top of him is the, let's say, the city area, and then the other one is the county, and the other one is the region, the other one is the whole entire country. So the same here. The same here with this Rheinmetall. Rheinmetall is a little police guy in a little village. I'm the boss here, man. Yeah, in your little village, in your little Europe. The guys from America, like Lockheed Martin or Rheinmetall, Raytheon or Boeing, those come and do like this bing, and this little policeman from the little village is going to be like, yes. So he thinks he's got this. He's going to be smacked by the Americans in no time. And then they're going to get me to the third article, which is NATO forces in Ukraine could trigger World War III, Russia security chief. Again, if you right now think that the peacekeeping mission in Ukraine is a good thing being provided by European troops, then again, please listen to this. When you're going to hear that again, remember this one right here. The presence of foreign, quote-unquote, peacekeepers could lead to a direct confrontation with Russia. Sergei Shoigu has warned. I never thought Shoigu was very smart, just so you know. Just me. But nevertheless, I don't have to assess him. The Russian people should. The deployment of foreign troops in Ukraine could lead to a clash between Russia and NATO and ultimately to World War III. Sergei Shoigu, Secretary warned. He the term peacekeepers, this is the reality right there, this I want you to memorize. The term peacekeepers is being used as a cover for the true objective of establishing control over Ukraine, according to the official. So what does it mean? They're going to bring the troops, something that Russia fought against, of NATO. And then something will happen with the observers, which is going to be neutral. One neutral from outside of Europe, okay? And the Ukrainians and the Russians, that's how they're talking about right now. And one of them is going to set the alarm that Russians violated the peace. The media operatives will say yes to you and I. Yes, the Russians did. Look over there, right there. The evidence is, he said it. So if he said it, it is. And then these NATO troops have to actively act. You have to act, man. How do you act? Fight the Russians? So everything that imbecile, I will almost push it to criminal. Zelensky wanted, oh, NATO, you've been attacked in Poland. NATO, you've been attacked in Romania. The missiles, the Russian drones. You have to activate Article 5. He pushed for that from the very beginning. Now that's a crime. Why? Because this guy, if NATO intervenes, Russia is going to use nuclear weapons. You're not going to fight. Russia will not fight NATO in a conventional war. It's going to fight like that. You want to say, you want that? Activate them. I give you, 33 seconds. 32, 31. Stop the fucking shit. That's what's going to be. So he's right. He's right. I mean, I did this just as a confirmation. It doesn't mean that that's true, right? I mean, if someone confirms that you're delusion, it doesn't mean it makes it true. Remember, truth is not based on democracy or in numbers. Like people say, we all know you're the only one talking. Yeah, but I'm the only one right here. You're all wrong. But you have to have courage to say that. Remember Galileo Galilei, when he was put in front of those wise men of the church about the sun and the earth, which one revolves around which one? And he said, no, the sun. There was the Euclidean theory that the Pope liked. Anyway, it was the Catholics, not but the other ones were the same. Anyway, the same kabuki. All right. So they have. He was brought in front and said, no. By my observation, when I looked at that little planet and the other ones over there, I realized that actually it's the Earth going around the sun, not the everything else around the Earth, because God created Earth. Therefore, we are the center of the universe. When he said that, this guy said, "What? Hey, put those logs over there. Get the fire started. We have to decide if this guy is going to be a steak tonight or not. We're going to put him on the stake to make a steak." So, say it again, Galileo Galilei. And Galileo Galilei said, oh, fuck, I remember Giordano Bruno. I don't know if Giordano Bruno died before him or not. They burned their Giordano Bruno on the stake. The same guys, the same kabuki. And he said, oh, he was on house arrest for about 10 years, brought back and tried again and so on. So, don't be afraid to be Galileo Galilei. You need courage. It doesn't matter. Oh, how many? Let's vote. Emil is an imbecile. Pop. Emil is an imbecile. Why? They decided. Good for you. What's the evidence? Well, look how much shit he talks. Or whatever. Democracy doesn't work in truth. Truth needs evidence. Got it? Objective evidence. Empirically observable. Logical. And so on. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.